Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. I'm Jonathan Friedman in the studio, and our next guest is NT Izuchi with Izu Digital Academy.
Got it.
Easier said, easier for you perhaps. Welcome, NT. Welcome to Radio Entrepreneurs.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here, guys.
Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about what it is that you do at Izu Digital Academy?
All right, so Izu Digital Academy is basically a website and online platform for entrepreneur coaches, consultants, and trainers who are really trying to establish themselves as that go-to sort of credible expert within their field. Particularly with how things are now. I mean, you turn on, Facebook or any social media platform of choice, and it's just a whirlwind of information. There's a lot of compare-itis, and some people are, a lot more advanced than others, but there's always a starting point for everyone, and I think that's important for everybody to know. And so at Izu Digital Academy, we give people very, I won't say easy, but actionable steps to doing these sort of things. So whether it be creating videos or starting a podcast like yourselves, or blogging, whatever have you, there's always a kind of a pocket for everybody. But I always push people to do video marketing. I think it's one of the best ways to really get your face out there, really brand yourself, and really, break out of your shell. Because a lot of these entrepreneur coaches, consultants, and trainers, they're really, really smart people. But when it comes to the internet, it can be really, really daunting. And so I try to help bridge that gap for these guys.
Interesting. So I guess the motto would be to train the trainer. You're working, your client base are the people that are delivering service to their clients.
Absolutely.
Are you delivering that service as well to end user clients, or predominantly towards others that will provide it?
Yeah, others that will provide that. So a lot of these people who I kind of, I don't call them people, but a lot of these entrepreneurs who kind of come my way or either find me through, whether it be content, video marketing, or whatever have you, or my blog, a lot of these people, they either have clients, right, already established, and they had what I like to call the ground game, right? They've already, established themselves through networks, but when it comes to the internet, they're like, I don't really know how to really, get that going.
So you're helping them develop their skills in a digital age.
Exactly. Exactly.
We talked a little bit before we came on air, but I want to hear the story of the founding of the firm, because you're a classic entrepreneur.
Yes,
so tell our listeners a little bit about that.
Absolutely, yeah. So I come from an engineering background. I actually did biomedical engineering and engineering management. I double majored. But the funny thing is, it's not really who I am at the core. I happen to be recruited by a university that is a technical university, WPI, which is right up the road, and obviously, it's all engineering there. So when I graduated, I was working for a medical device manufacturing company for a couple years, decided, okay, I want to go and do my master's. And lo and behold, just, about a week in, I was just pulling my little hair that I have out because I was just bored out of my mind. I was like, man, what am I going to do? So it literally started with a Google search, and that was how to make money online. Now, I will say this, if you go and do that, you will find a lot of craziness out there, but I managed to kind of weather the storm and kind of see through the smoke, and learned a lot of digital marketing sort of strategies. My go-to is video marketing. I think it's one of the most impactful. It's one that you can really get your face out there, and it helps people to really break out of their mold and step into, who they are, particularly if they have the knowledge and skill set up there. But if no one knows about it, right? You can talk all you want to people, but if you want to reach the masses, okay, you got to, take that step forward, and I think video marketing is one of them, along with others as well.
And I think that today it seems that it's so pervasive. If you're going to be on any social platforms, that video is the way to go. And you probably know a lot more about various platform algorithms and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
But if my understanding is that you want your rankings to rise, you got to have video.
Oh, absolutely. And it's what's interesting is that you see like a platform like LinkedIn, who now has their own native video platform. So for example, Facebook, you can literally upload a video there, and that video on Facebook has its own link. And based on how many shares you have, how much engagement it's getting and stuff like that, it'll rise to the ranks or rise on people's walls and stuff like that. Same thing with LinkedIn, same thing with some of these other platforms. But video is definitely on the forefront, and these social media platforms are pushing it. And usually any business is going to give the consumer what they want, and it's basically indicative of what people like to do. People like to consume video, they like to consume content, but I think we're seriously in the age of video, and we're going to be seeing that more and more moving forward.
I got a prediction. 3 generations from now, nobody's gonna know how to read anyways.
Yeah. Right, absolutely. Who reads anymore? Exactly. I'd say like the death to blogging. So blogging is actually where I started. Actually started them both at the same time. I always looked at it like this, like, yes, people know how to read. It's easy way of communication, but at the same time, it sometimes, if you're not the best writer, okay, you can kind of miss on that creativity and that and that kind of and that messaging, right? But at the same time, and if I'm writing something, that's one thing. But I'm like, you know what? I think I'm way more interesting if someone were to sit there and talk to me. They can see my enthusiasm. They can learn about how.
You have none of that.
No, exactly. That's where I struggle, right? I'm an engineer, we have that's what they say. No personality whatsoever, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, absolutely. It's super important.
So, what is the delivery mechanism? You're working, as you said, predominantly with consultants and others that are providing. Is that done one-on-one? Is it done in a classroom setting? Is it done virtually? Is it done all of the above?
Yeah, kind of all of the above. So there's steps to it, and it's something that I've developed over some time, and it's taken a lot of learning too. I think one of the most important things when it comes to coaching, or where you're trying to teach a group of people at scale, the one-on-one sessions, they can be helpful, but it's not scalable. That's how I started. My first client back in 2014, we were doing one-on-one session, and it was great, but it got to the point where I was like, man, I'm spending a lot of time.
Right.
And when I'm
for somebody.
Exactly, or a client, exactly. And it got to a point where it was just like, when I started to kind of work with other folks, I'm like, man, I'm repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Why don't I do this in a group setting, right, where not only can one person ask a question, but that other person can hear that same question and be like, oh my goodness, I wasn't even thinking about that, right? So I do deliver it in sort of like a kind of a group setting. So the delivery model is sort of like this. There's a membership platform where the content is there, right? But at the same time, they need the coaching side of things. And I believe that we're in an age where I am only one person, and I can only give you so much information. It's so much more powerful when you have a group of people, right? Maybe in the same
community.
Yeah, exactly, a bigger community, right? A bigger community where people are sharing ideas, people are teaching, right? Through asking questions and teaching through answering other people's questions, right? And it makes it not only easier on my end, but everybody gets a much, much bigger picture of how things are kind of moving.
Benefits from one another.
Benefits from one another as well. And another mechanism besides just the kind of membership platform where people can kind of log in, see what the videos are week to week and stuff like that. And then we meet on a weekly basis to kind of discuss where people are, give the coaching tips and things like that.
Is that meeting physical and people come physically?
No. So this is digitally. Yeah. It's just, using things like Zoom.us, which is a video conferencing platform. So that's one. One of my next things is to kind of really build a community here in the greater Boston area, which is going to be a strategy for 2018 and stuff like that. It's great for marketing, but it's also good to kind of meet these people face to face. One of the big mistakes people, when they find the internet, oh my God, I can do all this great stuff on the internet, they kind of forget about the actual human side of things and actually meeting people, right? And actually establishing that community.
Hermits,
Exactly.
They don't home anymore.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So I think another part is actually building a community. And a lot of people don't know what that means, but I think that's something as simple as building a Facebook group where it really is a community of people. And I think that's a great branding strategy for people who are trying to bring on new clients, but maybe they don't necessarily have an excellent sales funnel built out. We do help with that, but at the same time, I think a lot of that conversion, a lot of that gap filling can be filled literally through having a Facebook group and using things like Facebook Live, which is video streaming, where it's like, hey, now these people can get to see who you are. They get to feel and a sense for your enthusiasm, or do you tell jokes? Are you a serious type person? I think that's so important.
Right.
I had a client.
Really
It's huge because
not everything's a fit. Just because you have the skill set doesn't necessarily mean there's a fit.
Exactly, and some of that can be blurred sometimes when you have a sales funnel, because a sales funnel it's kind of scripted, right? You know what you want to say, and it sounds great, but what happens when you actually sit down and meet and coach with these people? That's when people start to realize, oh, maybe this isn't a right fit. Not because of your skill set, but because of the personality, and it's huge. I mean, people don't like to talk about that, but you're not for everyone, and everyone's not for you, and that's a big way to realize that. And I think if you have a platform like a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group where you can actually engage with these people on a day-to-day basis, and when they can get a feel for who you are, the jump can be exponential in terms of how many people say, yeah, I've been in your group for a little bit. I'm willing to see what you have to offer. So it's a great branding kind of channel.
So what are you seeing that people are coming to you for? Where are the gaps? Is a lot of it video and how to use video effectively, or is it some of it just the basic technical, like what equipment do I need?
Yeah,
you know what?
What
are the steps?
Yeah, you know what? I get a kind of a mix of that. What I find that people come and they don't really have quite of an idea of what to expect. They see what other people are doing and they would like to do that, but a lot of times it's not feasible, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense. So, I try to, and this is always good to kind of learn about your audience and kind of really get that narrowed down, as opposed to having somebody who is super advanced as opposed to someone who is just kind of getting started in the internet marketing space. And I found that when I was running a beta program, you have a sort of an overlap where people are asking super advanced questions, some people are asking super basic questions, right? So, kind of bridging that gap is always tough. But people do come with a general sense of, I know that I need to leverage the internet, right? Either people have clients already, or people don't have clients, but they have the skill set and knowledge. So it's kind of a mix in between, but generally speaking, people don't know how to either set up a website. Now, I don't necessarily teach them how to set up a website. I say you can outsource that for a couple $100 and have a nice looking, website. You know what I mean? But generally speaking, it's more of a content strategy, right? I have all this knowledge in my head. What's the best way and the quickest way for me to get that out there, right? And I say, more than anything else, I say video. And it's because you can literally just turn it on. Whereas a website and a blog, now you're thinking about, how do I write? How do you structure it? And I have programs for that. I have courses for that. But I think if someone wants to quickly just jump onto the scene, it's more so about turning on the video and having somewhat of a structure for how you do it. Mm-hmm. So I have what I call the 4-part video structure. It's very, very simple. It's just an introduction, right? You introduce yourself. Hey, my name is NT Izuchi from Izuchi Academy, and you pose a problem in the form of a question. Hey, are you an entrepreneur coach who is struggling with generating leads using your videos? Well, stay tuned. The rest of this video, I'm going to show you how to do that, right? So that's the second step. Third step is literally just provide the content. Step number 1, yada yada yada. Step number 2, yada yada yada, and then to close, it's the call to action, or to make your offer. So it's literally 4 steps. Introduction, pose the problem in the form of a question, give the content, right, the actionable solutions, and then give them the offer or the next logical step for them to elevate where they are. So,
wonderful. So as an engineer, you figured out how to create a entrepreneurial framework that is simple for people to follow as well.
And that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game, simplifying people's problems.
Fascinating stuff. It really is interesting. If our listeners want to get in touch with you and learn more about what it is you do, or engage and become a member, is that what it is? A monthly membership fee?
No. So the first thing I advise people to do is to join the community, the Facebook community. It's the easiest way for them to, one, start to learn how to engage with me and engage with the community, because I really want to be right for people. It's not about the money, and that's what you'll quickly understand. It's a lot easier when people are excited and want to come back, as opposed to they got started and you haven't heard from the person in a week, or in a week and a half, in a couple weeks. It's like, what was this? At some point there was some sort of sort of disconnect. So the first thing I always advise people to do is to join my Facebook community. That's the first step. Secondly, if we'll give
you a plug. Where do they find you?
Okay, so they can go to ntizuchi.com/community. Right, and then that's going to be linked to the Facebook group. So they want to do that, ntizuchi.com /community.
I'm just going to spell it out. It's NTIZUCHI?
Yes, NTIZUCHI.com/community. So that's just the community part of thing. But in terms of the actual program, it's funny you mentioned that. I'm actually in beta right now for what's called the Digital Authority Bootcamp. And this is for the entrepreneur, coach, consultants, and trainers who really want to be seen as that go-to expert in their field or in their particular niche. And that isn't a month-to-month. That is a kind of one-time fee to go in. I'm not going to talk about pricing and any of that stuff, but just to get in and go through this 8 to 10 week boot camp to kind of really help them establish their footing. And then after that, there's other things that we can do for more advanced, continuation, more advanced. Exactly. And a lot of those strategies are more geared towards hosting webinars, which is a huge sales engine. Also, building their own Facebook community, because that thing, I mean, that's an animal on its own, to be quite honest with you. I mean, it's like sometimes it's like daycare for adults. It's like it really is. But I love them all. But again, it's a learning experience, and if you're not learning as an entrepreneur, it's
good stuff. Really fascinating stuff. Our guest has been Izuchi of Izu Digital Academy.
That's right.
It's been a pleasure having you on Radio Entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
If somebody wants to get in direct contact with you, what's the best way to do that? Email, telephone number?
Yeah, no. The first thing, if they want to get
send you a video.
Yeah, shoot me. Exactly. Shoot me a video. Yeah, I mean, they can just directly through just my Facebook community, ntizuchi.com/community. I don't want to really drop any links to get into my sales funnel or anything like that. They can find all that. But I'm super active in there. So if they want to get in contact with me, they can send me a message through there as well. But yeah, that's where I'd definitely tell them to get in contact with me. Come on and join the fun. Join the party.
Wonderful. Great having you on, and appreciate you coming out to the Radio Entrepreneurs. Our guest has been Izuchi of Izu Digital Academy. I'm Jonathan Friedman, and we'll be right back with another segment on Radio Entrepreneurs.